What's up, everybody? Welcome to the premiere show of Turn 2 with Chris and Mike. I'm Chris, and this is my partner Mike. This is going to be a show we're going to talk about the premier topics in sports each week, maybe multiple times. So we're going to start today by getting into the Stanley Cup Finals, which ended last night, ending in a Pittsburgh Penguins win 2-1 in Game 7 last night, and pretty much a real shocker. Wouldn't you say, Mike?
Yeah, you'd have to say that. I've heard every analyst over the weekend and over the games coming up that the Penguins were going to get killed. 5-1, I was hearing from everybody. 4-1, didn't turn out that way. The Penguins were just determined to win, and they wanted it more.
And the great thing about that was that the Penguins scored the first two goals, and Detroit was down 2-0, just desperation all over in the third period. They didn't score their first goal until 6 minutes left of Game 7, and Pittsburgh did it pretty much without Crosby the whole game. He was injured, didn't play the third period. I mean, a very determined Malkin. He won the Conn Smythe Trophy, deservingly so, but Crosby had a hell of a playoffs as well, scoring, I believe it was 16 or 17 goals. But Pittsburgh went on some run, and for the future, wouldn't you say that Pittsburgh and Detroit would be the two dominant teams in their conference? Or maybe you see somebody getting a nice free agent signing, maybe San Jose. They fell in the first round. Maybe they could come back. What do you think for next year?
Yeah, as of now, these two seem like the team to beat. 2 years in a row, back to back. It sucks for Hossa, though. He was on the losing end of both times. Kind of hard to do when one team wins each game.
It's pretty tough when Hossa's a top 10 player in the league that can't get his Stanley Cup. I mean, who
Can't
knows?
get it right.
Could be another Ray Bork, 43 years old, mucus and everything else coming out of his nose, holding the cup, but at least he got it.
Yeah, a lot of credit though to Fleury. A lot of people bashing him, a lot of people saying he couldn't get it done in Detroit. Marc-Andre Fleury was all over the ice last night, making critical saves in the first period, second period, and even down the stretch.
The last save with 2 seconds left was definitely the marquee save, probably one of the best saves in the history of the NHL, even though there was so many. You could look at it, but a credit to Detroit's goalie too, Chris Osgood, as he got a lot of flack as well. He played pretty good last night, giving up 2 goals. You would think Detroit would have scored 3 or 4 last night, but Fleury was just too good.
Second goal by Osgood was a little soft.
Yeah.
Messed up the angle a little bit, left open the upper left shoulder. Got it by him. What could you do?
It's tough. So that's all for hockey. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the year. It was a very good playoffs. So we're going to get into the Mets now. We're going to talk about the Mets. And after last night, leaves plenty to talk about. Luis Castillo dropping the pop-up heard around the world. After that, and the Yankees came up, but they came back and bounced back today, winning 6-2 over the Yankees.
Yeah, the Mets last night was a horror show for most Met fans. A lot of people making a little more than it is. But the truth of the matter is this team does find a way to lose, whether it's Church missing the bag down the stretch, making a turn, or it's something like last night, dropped a pop-up, 2 hands, you know?
It's just fundamental baseball, and they can't seem to get it right. I think that's the worst part about the Mets is they get all the easy things wrong, you know, to catch the ball with 2 hands. I mean, nobody does it, but it seems, I mean, what else could you say? I mean, to lose a baseball game over not using 2 hands to catch a ball, I mean, especially when you got it in, you could have won the first 2, couldn't have taken the first 2 from the Yankees, and you would be in a better position. The Phillies lost last night. They could have gained a ground game on them, and they didn't do it again. I mean, what else could you say? It seems like these things keep happening over and over, and now people are complaining who they should have signed. We should have got Orlando Hudson, but, I mean,
what it comes down to is catching a pop-up.
It comes down to who you have on the field now. It's not who you should have gotten. I mean, you hear about Derek Lowe all the time, how they could have gotten Derek Lowe, but you don't have Derek Lowe now, so you can't look back and assume what would happen.
You got to go with what you have and fight through the injuries. You're supposed to have a lot of money. Your payroll is still higher than most of the teams. You got to forge on. Luis Castillo is one of the best defensive second basemen in the game. He makes a lot of nice plays. He just dropped the ball.
And he's also a world-renowned bunter. Let's not forget about that. He's such a great bunter. That's what we hear. He's batting over 300 now. He dipped down to 277 going into today. I'm not sure what he did today, but he's around the 280, 275, 280 range. So the one question I would still ask, even though it's only June, but everyone's going to talk about it because the 2 teams being compared are the Mets and the Phillies, and the Phillies took 2 out of 3 a couple of days ago, and everyone says how the Phillies rotation is so bad, but it seems as if the Mets is just as bad or worse besides Johan Santana. And when Cole Hamels gets right, he's at least maybe not on the same level, but he's right there with Santana.
Yeah, there's nothing behind Santana. That's it. It's just him. Pelfrey's, I don't know, he's not getting it done. Maine's now on the DL. Levon Hernandez throws 80 miles an hour. You don't get.
Just because you throw 120 pitches in the game doesn't mean there are 120 good pitches. He could throw as many strikes as he wants, but if you're giving up, 10 hits in 5 innings, obviously it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that's not productive for your team.
5 1/3 and 4 runs to the Yankees. That's not helping nobody. Yeah, Jabba was a little wild. Girardi might have pulled the plug a little too quick. Brought in Tomko.
Exactly.
Gave the Mets a chance to creep back in, but without that, Jabba throws a couple strikes in that game. He pitches 6 innings. Mets aren't even in that game.
Exactly, and you can't use the excuse about Yankee Stadium. Everyone's saying how the ball's flying out and how the offenses are coming in there scoring a lot of runs. It doesn't matter. Both teams have to play. So, it's a credit to the Yankees, too, when they win, when they lose. It's a new stadium, but it comes down to something very simple. You can analyze all you want. It's whoever scores more runs, and that's all it is. So
we'll see with the Mets what they could do, if they could turn this around, or it's going to be worse than the last couple of years.